Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Other than that, client-side encryption, you can still use this managed service like KMS to get customer keys and do the client-side encryption. And then on client side, you can also have a master key. A master key can be used for if you are rotating your keys, for example, if you are rotating your encryption keys, you will have something called as master key for that purpose. All right, then what is KMS? We just mentioned about that. KMS is a managed service which enables you to easily encrypt your data, and KMS provides highly available key storage. So you may have to have your key storage management somewhere in on the cloud. KMS is a solution for you. KMS is a highly available key storage. It manages and does audit of your keys. So what are the use cases? You are a developer who must encrypt your data in your application, and you don't have the access to key. So key can be obtained by KMS. You get the key from the KMS, do the encryption, and that's it. You don't have to use the keys in your local. You don't have to save it separately, because saving it separately will again be a headache. I mean, it's a burden on you. If you lose the key, you might as well sort of jeopardize your data from being decrypted and get access. So KMS is a key management service which you can use. It allows customers keys to be imported. It will allow accepts call directly from application for keys to do encryption decryption. The customer as a user will not have to go get the key and then embed in your application. KMS will automatically do that for you. And optionally, you can also rotate your keys automatically and manage your old keys. And this KMS can be integrated with a variety of AWS services. Anywhere you are having the requirement of encryption, you can use KMS. Encryption can be done on your EBS volumes. You can use KMS. Encryption can be done on your S3 data. You can use KMS. Encryption can be done to your DynamoDB table, RDS, EMR, SES, Redshift, CloudTrail. Anywhere you have this. EBS integration. Let's take EBS integration for an example here. That how does EBS use your KMS to work with encrypting and decrypting of your data? EBS offers volume encryption, right? So you can do that volume encryption using KMS. Each volume is encrypted using standard AES algorithm. It requires 256 bits, 256-bit keys. So the data is encrypted under the customer master key in your account. For Amazon EBS to encrypt a volume, it must have access to the KMS in the account. Okay, you provide the access to the KMS service. So these are the steps. EBS will obtain encrypted key through KMS. It will store the key with the volume metadata. it will encrypt that. So encrypted data key is retrieved from storage by host. A call is made by AWS KMS over SSL to decrypt the encrypted data key. Then KMS indicates the internal request for based on the security algorithm what you have selected. It will decrypt that and returns the key back to the KMS. So it will not persist the key. Again, if it is persisting the key, you will have a security breach, right? It might be possible. So it will not retain the key also. It will return it back, which means it will not store it in the storage. All right. And then there is another provision, another service by AWS, which is Cloud HSM. It means it gives you a hardware-based key management. It is called as hardware security module. HSM is hardware security module. It is a hardware-based key management solution. It gives you ability to secretly store your keys and generate keys. Now, this is used in services in companies where you have to meet your compliance in corporate compliance, or you have a regulatory compliance to meet for data security by external party. So if you have that sort of requirements, you might want to use a dedicated hardware security module appliance within AWS Cloud. A hardware security module is a hardware appliance that provides this key storage and cryptographic operations on your tamper-resistant hardware device. So these devices are resistant. They are tamper-free. They cannot be tampered to get keys or do any decryption and all. It is a sort of extra secure way of managing your keys. Okay. I haven't come across any, I mean, I didn't use this so far, but yes, this is something which gives you a hardware based key management service. All right, some differences, AWS Cloud HSM versus KMS. HSM is a single tenant, which means you have your hardware device and you will be the only tenant which is storing the keys. Whereas KMS is multi-tenant. Multi-tenant architecture is followed and multiple tenants can use KMS parallelly. But again, all those things are taken care for you. Your keys are not visible for other tenants. Right. Compliance wise, they are satisfying FIPS level 3 compliance, whereas AWS KMS satisfies level 2 compliance. Master key is managed by customer only in HSM, whereas in KMS, managed key is managed by KMS. So ciphers here, cipher is your key using which you decrypt or encrypt. So cipher is symmetric or asymmetric based on your choice. You can even have symmetric. Symmetric key will be one key for symmetric and one key for encryption and decryption, same key. Whereas asymmetric encryption will require two keys, similar to what you do in Git. If you have used Git, you will have some public key and private key, right? So that combination is called as asymmetric encryption. In KMS, you only have this provision of using symmetric encryption. You don't have this asymmetric option. How do you manage high availability of your HSM? You manage by the customer, whereas KMS will be managed by AWS. And region availability, where do you want to deploy your HSM? That's your choice. You select the regions, whereas KMS is available across all regions. And what is the pricing strategy? HSM is priced at hourly basis. You pay for that every hour, whereas KSM it is by API calls. How many number of calls you get it, and how many keys you are storing, you pay according to that. All right. So to fill in your gaps, you might want to look at protecting your data in AWS. There is a video on that. Encrypting data at rest, a white paper. Protecting data using encryption in Amazon S3. It is again a document. AWS overview security process white paper, and IAM policies and bucket policies and ACLs. There is a blog. This is something where you want to go to fill in your gaps. Any questions so far?
What is the difference between the different the server side encryptions that is mentioned, right? SSC S3, SSC KMS, SSC C, customer provided keys. So when to use
Yeah.
what?
So, I mean, that's what we spoke about, right? Here you are referring to, right? If you are having your own management keys, you will go for customer provided keys. If you are giving the key management to KMS, you will go for this option. If your keys are managed in S3, you will go for this option.
Okay.
So on the server side also you have these three options. That's what I was trying to explain here.
Okay, S3 means it will be stored there only, the keys.
Yes. Your keys are stored there. Yes. Yes. Yes.
It will be encrypted and stored there, and whenever we
So
retrieve
again
and
that you have to encrypt. Again your key is encrypted separately.
okay. So when
So you have
have to use it, we have to use some decrypt mechanism, right? So all this.
yeah, that will be again your decrypting cipher which you want to provide that, and that cipher you want to maybe store it separately, or you want again S3 to manage that for you. That's again choice on you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
But what I wanted to mention here is your keys can be managed on S3. That is one choice, right? If you want to store your keys somewhere in AWS environment, you store it on S3.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, this question we have, right? Yeah. Let's look at some sample question here. A company uses EBS volumes to store critical and confidential data on their EC2 instances. A new mandate has been released requiring the company to encrypt all EBS volumes. Which of the following can be used to meet this requirement? So what is the requirement here? EBS volumes to store critical and confidential data. They have to encrypt all EBS volumes. How do they encrypt? Which of the following can be used to meet this requirement?
Answer A.
Yes, you do that by A, because A is B's certificate manager is only used for managing the certificates for data in transit, but not at rest. IAM access is used to give access, but not to encrypt. And API gateway is something which is different. So only KMS is used for encrypting your data and managing your keys.
What type of tokens it is?
Token on?
Like in the before the fourth answer, you had an explanation of token. What is a token?
Okay, so this is API gateway. API gateway, if you know, API gateway is a service which allows access on services on APIs using tokens.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So it gives you a token. Let's say you are an administrator of an application. You have access to some web service. So API gateway will give you that token to authenticate yourself to assume that API role.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Define the networking infrastructure for a single VPC application. This is the objective in this sub-module. So a little about VPC. You can use VPC to provide a sort of logical cloud within your cloud. VPC means virtual private cloud, and it is used to create your own logical isolation for all your AWS resources within AWS. With that, you will have a complete control over your networking environment. You can create your, you have your own selection of IP addresses. You can create your subnets. You can configure your routes to your tables, and you can configure your network gateways. So VPC gives you a good amount of isolation from all the other AWS users. So you can design your network architecture in cloud. You can provide your security, network isolation, management of IP addresses, internet accessibility using subnets, routing. Using subnets, you can organize your VPC into subnets. Organize your subnets based on internet accessibility. Whether you want to have public subnets or private subnets, you can do that. Based on the subnet type, internet accessibility will be decided. Based on that, you can even define subnet level isolation between public subnets and private subnets. Okay. So what is a public subnet? Public subnet will support public internet. It can have access to public internet. It can be specified by routing a table entry to internet gateway. Whereas a private subnet, you don't have access to the internet, so you don't get access to the internet gateway. So how do you get? You may still require internet to your private subnets also. Let's assume your private subnet is having a database which requires to connect at the back end to upgrade. Let's say your database wants to have some patching or it wants to have some updates. So that sort of indirect access is given to the internet via NAT. Okay, NAT gateway is used to give private internet access to your private subnets. Security groups versus network access control list or NACLs. So where to use security groups and where to use network access list, NACLs. So what are security groups? Security groups provide a control over your EC2 instances at a low level. When you want to control the traffic at the traffic, then your network NACLs. It gives you more control, more fine granular control over NACLs. Security group is associated to an elastic network interface, whereas NACL is associated to a subnet. Rules support allow only rules in security group, whereas NACL support allow rules as well as deny rules. Security groups are stateful and NACLs are stateless. What are the rules logic? All rules are evaluated before deciding whether to allow traffic, whereas in NACLs, all rules are processed in order to decide whether to allow traffic or not. So security group sort of prevents everything. It evaluates before it allows the traffic. Configuration needs to be manually configured on ENI to allow traffic, whereas NACLs, it is configured at the subnet level and automatically applied to all instances. Default access, it denies all ingress traffics and allow egress traffics, whereas it allows all egress traffics and ingress traffics both. So when to use security group? Security groups, something looks like this. Security group which is at the application tier for all your app servers, and security group at the database tier to protect all your data instances. So use security group to control traffic into and out and between resources. You have seen how to organize and isolate resources at the network and subnet level. So here we are seeing something within the VPC. In this example, I am providing the security group to allow to control the traffic between at the app tier as well as data tier. There are two security groups at two different tiers. Amazon VPC connections. You know the services to get traffic in and out of your Amazon VPC. What are the services to get traffic in or out of your VPC? Internet gateway it is a service to connect to internet from your VPC. Whereas virtual private gateway, it is a service to connect to VPN or a direct connection termination point. Okay. And then AWS Direct Connect is a dedicated networking line to give on-premises connection. Direct Connect is something different. And then there is VPC peering. VPC peering is allowed it's a service to allow connection between two VPCs, multiple VPCs. You want to connect between different VPCs. VPC peering is a solution. And lastly, what are NAT gateways? NAT gateways are services which allow private subnets to get access to the internet. All right. Outbound traffic from private instances. If you need private subnet on their IP VPCs, you can set up an egress only internet gateway, which will allow one-way access to internet resources. You have this option also where you want to give only egress traffic, which means you are only allowing outbound traffic to the internet is allowed, and you prevent the internet incoming traffic. Okay, so you have that option also, but this is available only on IP6 enabled VPC. You have to have the IP6 enabled VPC there. So something to fill in your gaps on this, VPC fundamentals and network connectivity options. This is one white paper which you want to read. Then there is this Linux Bastion host on AWS Cloud. This is also, I think this is a TED talk which was delivered earlier. This is a white, it's a white paper on using Linux Bastions. And VPC user guide. What is Amazon VPC? You may want to refer here for some quick refresher. Let's look at a sample question. What you are required to design an online application running in a VPC on EC2 instance behind an ELB. The application tier must read and write access to a customer managed database cluster. There should be no access to the database from internet, but the cluster must be able to obtain software patches from the internet. What solution meets this requirement? Public subnet for the last answer is not visible. Let me reduce this size. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. So you are required to design an online application running in a VPC on EC2 instance behind ELB. Application tier must read and write data to customer managed database cluster. So this is a database cluster which is managed by customer. There should be no access to the database from the internet. So which means your database is in the private subnet. You have to answer that. But the cluster must be able to obtain software patches from the internet. So which solution meets the requirement? Public subnet for both the application tier and database cluster. Public subnet for application tier and private subnet for database cluster. Public subnet for application tier and NAT gateway, and private subnets for database cluster. Public subnet for application tier and private subnets and database cluster and NAT gateway. What is the right answer here? So public subnets, both the options will go. Okay, so this is the C is also not a right answer because you don't give the okay, this is missing. So C is not right answer because you don't give NAT gateway to your public subnets because public subnet already has the internet access. So the last answer would be the right answer. I don't know why this slide is not visible. Okay. Yeah. So the next question, you have deployed an instance running a web server. When you try to connect to it using HTTP over internet, the connection times out. Which of the three steps could fix the problem? Select three answers here. So you have an instance running a web server, your connection times out over HTTP. So you have three steps to fix it. Check if subnet's route table is routing 0.0.0/0 to internet gateway. Check if subnet's route table is routing to this 0.0.0.0/0, which means all traffic from anywhere to virtual private gateway. Check if the security group allows inbound access on port 80. Check that security group allows outbound traffic on port 80. Check that custom network NACL allows inbound access on port 80. So what are the things we have to highlight? Instance running on a web server, HTTP over internet. So it requires this steps. What are the obviously wrong answers? Let's eliminate. If you eliminate two, you will get three answers here. Check if subnet's route table is routing to all traffic via virtual private gateway. That's not valid. And check that security groups allows outbound traffic access on port 80. You don't do that way. You need to check inbound traffic to see that if you are getting access to the internet or not. So these two are the wrong answers. This you have to check basically internet gateway to route all traffic from everywhere. Check if security group allows inbound traffic on 80, and check if NACL is also allowing inbound access to port 80. All right. Some exam considerations which you may have to make, which will sort of help you understand. Lock down AWS account root user. Security groups only allow. Okay. Security groups only allow, they don't deny, whereas NACLs allow explicit deny. NACLs can be used to explicitly deny. So if you have a question which says explicitly deny, it might use NACL. Prefer IAM roles to access keys. If you see questions where there are things like configure key in your application or that sort of things, keys you don't use, rather you will say you will prefer IAM roles. So with that, we have sort of come to a conclusion on this topic. Let's spend another 5 minutes to answer your questions, if you have any. So this module was about your specify secure applications and architecture. This was the objective. And in this module, we determined about how to secure application tiers, how to secure data, and configure, manage networking infrastructure for a single VPC application. So these were the three objectives in this module. Okay. Any questions before we wind up this module and go for a break?
Regarding the NAT gateway, I thought like the private subnet routing table and NAT gateway is in the public subnet, right?
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean in the answer you selected the NAT gateway in the private subnet. That's why I have.
No, it is given to a public subnet. Did I select private? No, it is given to a public. Let me.
Yeah, even I thought that NAT gateway will be in the public.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts. Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.